Hello and welcome back to the channel, and today's video is on my attempt to make a legal flip license plate. Now there is a lot of contradiction, shall we say, in this video. The reason being is there's no such thing as a legal flipped or tucked plate in the UK. The UK law states that you must have your number plate at 45 degrees over your rear tyre. There is also a size for the plate which is related to not so much the size of the plate but the size of the lettering that is used. However, I have the Futurist Moto tail tidy, which there's a link up in the corner for you to check that out, and the option is to come with two forms of plate brackets, one being the 45-degree angle for the UK, the other being the tucked plate angle, which you can see here. Now, I've always loved the look of a tucked plate, and therefore I wanted to make the best of both worlds. So you can see here my attempt at a bracket to have the 45-degree angle and to flip it into the tucked position. Now, big massive disclaimer here, this is not a flip and dip. This is not with the intention to hide the plate from the police. This is an aesthetics point of view for shows and things like that. If you are watching this video with the intent of a flip and dip plate, please heed my advice and just don't do it. The consequences for deceiving the police is so high. Lose your license, massive fines. It just really isn't worth it. But here to see, can I run a plate that is in between what is the letter of the law rather than having it full flipped or having it full tucked, then this could be the video for you, and carry on watching. So we're going to dive into what I did. So basically the tuck plate here you can see comes from Futurist Moto, and to the top left is just a little flip bracket you can buy off eBay for about 10-20 quid, and there's a link in the description below. The Futurist Moto flip plate is what came with that tail tidy. You can also get tucked plates for other tail tidies as well. So basically it was a case of put the bracket on top of the tuck plate, draw your holes and then drill them. Once they're drilled, it was then a case of finding some bolts. So I went with some M4 12mm lengths, which fitted quite well. However, I wasn't happy with the silver look against the black and went to plaster dip them and make it all black. The look, although a little bit scrappy, you could do a better job. It wasn't really noticeable when on the bike, but even so, my OCD still didn't like this. So I then went about stripping out the plaster dip, which is the great reason of using it because it creates a plastic film over the top. I then peeled that back and I just replaced the screws with some black ones that I bought off eBay. So here you can see the final result. And the final result is great. I loved it. It ticked all the boxes. However, I just still couldn't get around the tucked flip side of it. I was paranoid, you know, it's not visible enough. The police are going to see it. They're going to pull me. So I thought I'll just ride around with it at a 45-degree angle outwards and be legal, and just tuck it when I get to, you know, bike meets and places like that. So it looks good for photographs and what have you. But the more I look at it, the more, you know, I'm deliberating over it, the more I actually just prefer running a smaller 7x4 plate. And again, I know a 7x4 plate isn't technically the legal size, but that said, I've been running that size of plate for over 8 years. I've been riding with police officers. It's a case of, yes, the letter of the law says your plate shouldn't be that small, but you're not trying to hide it, which I think in a tucked plate, you can be accused of trying to hide your plate. And also, I know people who run full-size legal plates in the tucked position and still get pulled by the police because, you know, they just can't see the plate clearly visible. Whereas if you're running a smaller plate at a 45-degree angle, you're being more honest, shall we say. And a reason I run a small small plate is aesthetics, it looks good, but also if ever I do get pulled by the police for any reason, I've given them a quick easy out. Now again, this is a massive disclaimer, don't follow my advice here, this is just my opinion, if you like, but at the end of the day, if I get pulled over by the police and they want to inspect my bike, having a small number plate is a quick win. Give me the fine, write me up, maybe force me to run a legal plate thereafter. But if I run a full legal plate and I get pulled over by somebody who, just wants to make an example at me for whatever reason, then, like I say, the small plate is the quick out for them. There's a small plate, there's your fine. Whereas if you've got a legal plate, then they're going to have to move on to something else. What's the decibel level of your exhaust? Are you running the sticker showing your decibel level? There's so many other things on the bike they could try and do you for. Whereas I think the small plate, and in 8 years of me riding, I've never had an issue with it. And like I say, I do ride with the police. I have been on police safe course. And although, they give you a raised eyebrow and be like, what you doing there with your little plate? But it's a smile and a wink rather than I'm going to write you up a ticket. That said, again, the massive disclaimer, don't do as I do. It depends on your constabulary force in your area. Northants Police, massive shout out to them. They are a brilliant bunch, very friendly, very welcoming, want to make you a better rider, don't want to pull you up on, things like a small plate or handlebar mirrors or whatever else you've got on your bike. As long as your bike is MOT'd, legal, and you are riding it well, they will help you, not hinder you. But anyway, guys, it's down to you if you ride your plate in a tucked position or if you're fully legal, well out over your tyre at 45 degree, or if you run a tail tidy. But I'd be interested in your opinions in the comments below. Like I say, I've gone back to the smaller plate at the legal 45 degree, but let me know your impressions if you do run a tuck plate, how that's been going for you, and if you run those dodgy, flip and dips with really stupid tiny plates, which personally I think is asking for trouble, but let me know your guys' opinions on that as well. As always, thank you for watching. A like and a subscribe would be greatly appreciated, and catch you on the next video.